My Korean culture seems to be so resonant globally and so resonant at this moment.
How does Korea's announcement compare to other regional plans? I mean, they really want to be at the forefront of this.
They're a pretty big deal inside and outside of Korea.
I wanted to learn more about Korea, so I decided to do something.
안녕하세요, 원다입니다.
South Korea, one of the biggest beneficiaries of the AI boom, has unveiled ambitious plans to try and cement its position as a global powerhouse. How does Korea's announcement compare to other regional plans? I mean, they really want to be at the forefront of this.
문화적 파워에서 기술적 리더십으로 최근 영국 BBC와 미국 CNN, 미국 블룸버그 등 주요 해외 언론들은 2026년 현재 한국을 문화 강국을 넘어 세계 AI 반도체 투자를 선도하는 혁신 기술의 중심지로 집중 보도하고 있는데요.
We're also keeping an eye on South Korea's tech sector. Is this about reshaping Korea's long-term competitive advantage in the semiconductor space?
Yes, that's right. It's been what President Lee Jae-myung has been trying to achieve to set Korea on the path of further cementing its position in the semiconductor world.
Wow, what a big announcement coming out of Korea. This really shows that the demand for memory chips is structural because these two market leaders in Korea are willing to put $1.3 trillion.
경제력, 기술력, 그리고 K컬처의 폭발적인 성공을 바탕으로 글로벌 문화 경제 강국으로 그 위상이 크게 격상된 한국은 외국인들의 국가 호감도에서도 82.3%를 기록하며 역대 최고치를 경신하고 있죠.
Welcome back. I'm going to assume at this point that you've heard of the boy band BTS. And I'm also going to assume that you've heard of the globally popular Squid Games, or if not, the #1 film of the 21st century, according to the New York Times, the movie Parasite.
Yeah.
So they all have one thing in common. They're Korean.
Love that. Well, Korean entertainment has exploded, to say the very least, here in Western media over the past 20 years.
Let's get into that a bit.
이에 따라 외국 대학에서 한국 관련 학과나 수업의 인지도는 최근 몇 년 사이 비주류 소수 학문에서 가장 역동적으로 성장하는 인기 학문으로 완전히 탈바꿈했는데요. 최근 2026년 예일대 졸업연설 연단에선 이민진 작가의 한국 관련 수업 개설 일화와 예일대 졸업생들의 뜨거운 반응은 세계적 명문대에서도 한국의 인지도와 위상이 얼마나 높아졌는지를 생생하게 느낄 수 있게 해주죠.
50 years ago, in 1976, I immigrated to this country with my family when I was 7. Thank you. Then 10 years later, in the fall of 1986, I entered Old Campus for my first day at Yale. I was 17. In the summer between my first and second year at Yale, I went to Korea to study the Korean language at Yonsei University, my mother's alma mater. When I returned to Yale, I wanted to learn more about Korea. Yale was supposedly world-renowned for its East Asian studies, but in 1988, I could not find any department course on Korean history, language, religion, or literature, nothing. I wanted a better education, so I decided to do something. So in my sophomore year, I decided to start up the Korea Studies Task Force. I wrote several letters. I drafted a formal letter to the chair of the East Asian Studies Department asking for classes relating to Korea studies. And I photocopied the letters. I bought stamps for 200 envelopes with my own money. Then I called a meeting and gathered students and leaders from different student organizations who would support Korea studies. And at the meeting, I asked 200 students to send the letters to their parents, and then to ask their parents to send the letters to the college administration. And they did. Things started to change. Parents sent those letters to then President Benno Schmidt, and some added fierce arguments of their own. In the fall of my junior year, students and parents sent those letters, and the school announced that the Korean language would be taught the following year in the fall of 1990.
이민진 작가의 이야기에서 짐작할 수 있듯이 과거에는 한국계 학생들의 주도로 한국 관련 수업이 개설되었다면 지금은 그 주체가 완전히 바뀌어 외국인 학생들이 적극적으로 한국 관련 수업을 요청하고 있다고 하는데요. 미국 현대언어학회 등의 조사에 따르면 미국 대학 내 전체 외국어 수강생 수는 전반적으로 감소하는 추세인 반면 한국어는 주요 외국어 중 독보적인 수강생 증가율 1위를 기록하고 있다고 합니다. 스탠퍼드대 교수 역시 이런 사실을 언급한 바 있는데요.
We talked with a Stanford professor who says that her Korean culture and language classes are filling up in a way she hasn't seen in the past 10 years.
As opposed to a lot of other foreign languages that are stagnant or that are losing students. So Korean language, Korean history, Korean culture, Korean literature, sociology. So there's just a tremendous interest.
한국 관련 수업은 단순한 취미를 넘어 학문적 가치와 커리어 전략으로 확장되고 있는데요. 한국의 급격한 경제성장, 민주화 과정, 독특한 IT 디지털 문화 등은 정치학, 경제학, 사회학을 공부하는 엘리트 학생들에게 매우 매력적인 연구 대상이 되고 있죠. 여기다 실질적인 비즈니스 및 연구 기회 역시 그 이유가 되고 있는데요. 글로벌 무대에서 삼성, SK, 현대 같은 한국 대기업의 위상과 영향력은 한국을 아는 것이 커리어에 도움이 된다는 인식을 심어줬죠.
So the two companies who have sort of spearheaded this announcement around, as you say, about $500 billion of expenditure are SK Hynix and Samsung. So they've pledged to build new chip fabs, which means the infrastructure you need to make chips. And as we know, chips are pretty integral to the AI boom because we need them to power the AI data centers that are currently being built by companies like Microsoft, Google, etc. These two companies account for 80% of the world's market share for memory chips. So they're a pretty big deal inside and outside of Korea, and so sort of it is a very large expenditure plan. The EU sadly is lagging much behind. We're talking sub $100 billion really for the EU's plans to build AI infrastructure. So
미국의 CNN 역시 K-Everything이라는 다큐멘터리를 제작하여 한국에 대해서 알고자 하는 세계인들의 요구를 충족시키려 애쓰고 있는데요.
New Kim, great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
So you have been a familiar face in Hollywood for decades, and now you're helping to tell the story of Korea's global cultural moment. From what I've seen so far, it is beautifully shot by our crews in Asia. How did you get involved in this project?
The short answer is they asked me. They were interested in the rise of Korean culture just independently, and they thought, well, who would be someone who could help enhance this story and be a value add to the series? And when I heard about it, I was very excited because, I have a very personal interest, as you might guess, in the subject matter. And so I thought it was a nice combination of CNN's knowledge and my own independent knowledge of the country.
And in the series, you travel across Korea. You meet chefs, creators, artists. What surprised you most when filming?
The collective energy of the country.
이들은 한국의 모든 것을 속속들이 들여다보며 한국인들의 응집력과 추진력, 그리고 한국인으로서의 자부심 등이 오늘의 한국을 있게 한 저력임을 이야기합니다.
Tell us about the genesis of this show. Why did you decide to go and make it, to focus on Korean culture?
Well, I've been noticing, how prominent Korean culture has become over the last 10 or 15 years. It was staring me in the face, and then I realized not only is it, drama, but it's food, it's beauty, it's music. Of course, everyone knows K-pop, and so I thought it was a perfect time to kind of showcase this culture to the world.
Why Korean culture seems to be so resonant globally and so resonant at this moment? What's your thinking on that?
It's a good question. You know, Korea came from a war-torn, poverty-stricken nation just a few generations ago to one of the most modern civilizations in the world. And I think it has something to do with the competitive nature and the pride of the Korean people. And so that competitive nature, that drive, actually propels them to succeed in areas in such a short, compressed time.